You are seeing their former president, Barack Obama, sitting right next to President-elect Donald Trump. Of course, we don't know what they're saying.
Welcome to the stage, the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. Wealthy, wealthy, wealthy. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can we agree that if you took President Xi Jinping and turned him upside down and shook him, the World Health Organization would fall out of his pocket?
I don't think I can answer that question, sir. I'm sorry.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Would you like the rest of my sandwich?
I'm not homeless! Hey, come on, grab your stuff. I got us a place to play.
What is it?
Oh, I don't know. It's a place called Dante's or something. And they've only allowed us to do one song, so we gotta make it a good one. Come on.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings. Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the butter spread. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the butter spread. To get your butter spread all on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my mac and cheese. Cause when you're at KFC, you got that special sauce to stir my curiosity. Just give me a 5-piece meal, oh what a deal. A big old box, it's all for me. You know I'll take coleslaw on the side. I could tell you wanted to try the potato wedges. Taste the biscuit, taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce, taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Get your honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my chicken wings. Get none of that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes on my chicken wings. Take us out, Moose.
Taste. So we're going to give this region just another little touch to just brighten up the colors just a little bit more. There we go. Beautiful. It's there. But it's in the background. Just like what global financial elites are doing by systematically constructing and implementing global financial crashes and large-scale wars to destabilize the economy for their own profit, because that's what they need to bring humanity to the very brink of disaster. And individual and
welcome everybody. Welcome to today's show. How you guys doing today?
Happy to be here on a beautiful Sunday evening on the Talking Heads podcast project. Just yet another jam-packed week full of news that the Democrats couldn't keep up with. So just more entertainment.
That's right. Got a great show for you guys today. We're going to get into JFK's confirmation hearing. And Corey's got a nice segment prepared on that for us. We're also going to get into the revelation that Elon Musk and Doge is planning on auditing the Federal Reserve in Fort Knox and to see whether all the gold is actually there that they claim.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
It's Ron Paul licking his chops at finally watching his now what they look like to be prophecies from the 90s coming true about how poorly the Federal Reserve has been run, and no audit of the Federal Reserve this entire time. So that's, I mean, this is going to have to be paced, I would imagine, so that we don't completely collapse the American economy with transparency right off the bat. Don't you think Project Trump's going to have to be selective on how he, or do you think this is a dump? We dump it all and we present the solution and boom, we pass it through before midterms come along?
Well, yeah, the problem is we only have 4 years he can be in there. But on top of that, like you mentioned about midterms, we only have 2 years to do enough to show the American people that we're on the right track and to get things going again. That way we keep control. Because if we don't keep control of the House and the Senate, then that's going to pretty much stop Trump's agenda in its tracks for his last 2 years.
Well, and honestly, he's got the next 9 months because after the holidays come along, all of these people in Congress are going to start campaigning for the midterms, and their voting will be definitely adjusted to whatever type of propaganda is being pushed out at the time. What I mean is they're going to be too scared to do anything radical on election year. And so if Trump really is going to bull rush this thing, which I think this is the strategy, what we're seeing is this strategy, is he's got to get it all done in the first 9 months. And then pray to God he can get the economy pumping out before midterms next November. That's just how I'm seeing the strategy playing out.
I agree. I think that's what he's doing. And he's even said himself that it's going to get worse before it gets better. So he's preparing everybody for that fact. Prices are going to go up in the short term with these tariff wars, these trade wars and stuff. And with all these new weapons, especially, you cannot even imagine the fallout if they audit Fort Knox and the gold is gone.
Oh, bad situation. Now,
massive economic repercussions.
Here's the thing, are they going to be honest with us about that? Is the goal to get us away from the pretext of gold and go straight into digital currency? Is that the play here? Because it seems to me that if you're going to rush in and get and do a shock system, which is what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're going to shock the system. Especially, I feel like there is some effort being held back until the JFK and RFK files drop, and that will be used as a finishing blow to create new legislation.
Well, if you remember, Trump also, he supports digital currency. He supports Bitcoin, and he even launched his own meme coins, Trump coin and Melania coin. So he's definitely on board with that, and he's talked about a digital central currency, but it has to be United States back, not some other country, and I think that is, you're right about that. That's the road that we're going to end up going down.
Well, and that's and like Tame Doe Descendant, some call me J-Dub, says we've been off the gold standard for decades. 100% true. Since I think 73 was that fully off of the gold standard under Nixon.
Yep.
But we have gold reserves for some reason. And a lot of this stems back from World War II, where we offered to be the holding service for the nations at war. And Germany 10 years ago started to ask for their gold back, and we said, we can do it in payments. And the gold we gave back to them was not the gold they gave to us. It was newly cast gold. So there's definitely probably, I would imagine, the worst, and there's no gold there. And so if that's what they're planning on doing and exposing that, then they need to have this secondary cryptocurrency up and running. And to be honest, dude, Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency that makes sense, because everything else is a fiat currency. Everything else is. And so, including our, in the digital world, but so is our American dollar. It's backed by absolutely nothing. So are we going to, what change does that give us if we back it from absolutely nothing to a digital absolutely nothing? Besides take power away from the Federal Reserve, which is what I think Trump wants to do, because he's had issues with the head of Federal Reserve, not negotiating interest prices or rates in a way that
they're above the law. They think they're above
yes.
any kind of government control or oversight.
Well, and fun fact, granddaughter of Federal Reserve of the Northeast is Bill Gates' wife, ex-wife.
Ooh, really?
I take that back. It's Bill Gates' mom. It's Bill Gates' mom.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just a little. Tuck that away for later. Wait.
Interesting.
I mean, before we go into the gold reserve and your video, I feel like as Americans, we have to play what happened in America versus Canada hockey. I think we're just obligated to.
Yeah, I was going to mention that myself.
I got a clip right here, just pulled up, just so happened.
Face-off matchup.
All right, let's give a little pretext to what is going on here. So, Canada and America are taking off in what's called a nation's face-off, and of course, we know that Canada has begrudgingly told us they don't want to be our 51st state. So, of course, Canada is going to make it difficult and boo when their future national anthem come on, which is what happened. The national anthem was played for Canada. Trudeau teared up as he was singing. I don't think he even knew the words. He looked like, I don't know if you saw the clip of it, but I think Trudeau mistakes the Cuban national anthem for the Canadian one, which happens. They're both C's.
Yeah. I guess an easy mistake, right?
Easy mistake.
Especially if you're the prime minister.
Especially if you're the prime man. Yeah, Daddy Cuba, Canada, kept it. Anyway, so of course, everyone that's an idiotic Canadian, I won't say all Canadians, I'll just say every idiotic Canadian, which is every Canadian that watches hockey, it starts booing the national anthem. And of course, our boys, we're a loving nation. We thought, now we found out that we were overthrowing governments, but we thought our taxes were giving tons of aid to other countries for the last 80 years. So we don't understand this hostility from Canada. And in hockey, there's only one way to make a point. So immediately, as soon as the puck drops, this happens.
It's underway, and the gloves are off. Matthew Tkachuk and Brandon Hagel.
Just want to mention the Canadian was backing up. I don't know if anyone saw that in typical Canadian fashion, retreating. I do believe he cried out for the king, King Charles, but King Charles was playing with little boys, so you couldn't hear that. Oh, yeah.
Hagel from Tampa Bay.
Now, the guy fighting here, I texted, of course, my one Canadian friend just to sort of see what was going on. And he said this guy came from the womb of a Canadian, right? So he's slightly offended that this guy in our colors who came from the womb of a Canadian is fighting right now. And I just want to say, man, it's never too late to be American.
Tkachuk from Florida.
Nope.
Oh,
Did not see this coming.
Some good pitches. All right, so they break it up, right? And we expect, okay, these guys are going into the penalty box, 5 for fighting, all that. Let's resettle up. Let's start the game now, boys. We made our point.
Little chat at the start. Hagel and Matthew Tkachuk drop right off the hop. And I'm telling you, Sean, I'm sitting in the same penalty match. The United States.
So here we go with the next.
Physicality brings a lot of grit, a lot of sandpaper. This was set. And here they come. Bring it right.
Round 2. We don't let you just get away with one fight. End up beating them 3 times. So before 9 seconds elapsed on this game,
There were 3 fights.
There was 3 fights, and then we went on to beat those maple sucking asses 3-1. Excuse my language. I get excited. I match the energy. I apologize. But if we can't beat people whose favorite food is rice or fries with gravy, we have no right to call ourselves Americans. So well done, American hockey team. It's nice.
Yes, absolutely.
100%. I think what did Trump say about this? It's the golden era. This is the golden era. That's what's going on right now. So.
I got that video actually. Let me see if I can find it.
I couldn't remember.
The golden age of America begins right now.
There it is.
The golden age of America begins right now. America's decline is over. We will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity.
We have to find that clip where he's like, so much winning. It'd just be too much winning. He'll be like, I'm tired of winning. This is the beginning of winning, right here.
More winning.
Watching some Americans kick some Canucks. Look at that.
Right.
Oh, miss hit. Do the leg sweep. Oh, that's just textbook.
And you see the refs didn't even jump in until after they had already thrown a few blows and stuff. They wanted it to happen.
Absolutely. They're probably American, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I love how everyone understands. The puck goes to the side, gloves come off. I like how the other players, like he's moving the glove away. He's like, all right, let's clear the area for these boys. These boys got to fight.
I gotta be honest. I'm not really a hockey fan, but honestly, hockey is probably the only true sport that we have left. The only real man sport that we have left.
It
hasn't been adulterated by just.
Oh, they tried.
Nonsense.
They tried. I mean, how did NASCAR fall before hockey fell? I mean, it's so sad. It's coming back, though. It's coming back. It's just some good old hockey fights. It always amazed me at how willing they were to let people fight. But, because in football, it's all about you take that energy and you make them pay on a play. You don't beat someone. You don't waste that energy. In hockey, it's like, hey, you want to go waste some energy, you go do that, okay? That's fine. You sit 5 minutes in the box, you get your breath back.
I love it. There's nothing more American than that, by the way.
I think the Canadians and Russians would disagree with you on that. But I'm willing to stand with you and say we Americans have bought hockey. That's our thing. We couldn't get Greenland yet. We can't get Canada or Mexico yet. We will.
Coming.
It's coming. But we're buying hockey right now.
Canada can kick the rocks all they want and be all frustrated, but they don't have a choice in the matter. Just like over in Ukraine, how Zelensky, said that he will never back a deal between the U.S., that the U.S. and Russia comes up with. Like, dude, you don't have a choice in the matter. You are losing your ass, number one. You have laundered billions of dollars back to these politicians, participated in the fraud. You're lucky that Trump is even willing to work with you at all at this point. So you better just sit down and shut up, let Trump do his work, and be a good little boy and agree with everything.
Well, and that's just it.
Same goes with Trudeau.
What's over under that Zelensky makes it out in 2025 alive?
I think he'll be alive. I don't think he'll be killed, but I do think that he will either end up in jail or he will Well, I definitely think he's going to lose his position. I don't think he's going to be president or whatever anymore. Although, if you've seen, he suspended the elections or whatever.
He suspended the elections 2 years ago, 3 years ago now.
Yeah, and they were trying to do it again. He's trying to do it again now. I just saw something come out the other day on that. So that just screams dictator right there.
Well, and that's really just it. Is we have, if you are getting your news from MSNBC, even Fox, any spectrum of mainstream media, they are telling you that Ukraine has a shot in this war. That Zelensky. I mean, we watched him get standing ovation in the halls of the Congress, and it's turning out people are starting to realize that this is the guy that was killing reporters, American reporters, in prison for reporting the truth, for telling people that he had withheld the elections. This is the same guy that there's no way you can tell me the Russians flew a drone into a nuclear plant the day before they're supposed to go into peace talks.
Yeah, that's right. That's another thing. No, that was 100% a false flag. You know,
Yeah,
Ukraine did that to try to start off, to try to steal the talks.
Which is the exact same thing they did last year. Same exact time.
Bridge, wasn't it the bridge? Blowing up that bridge?
So, then
was it the bridge or was it the drones into Moscow or whatever?
Into Moscow, and then don't forget the Nord Stream pipeline, which was an industrial act of war, which has caused more pollution than anything else, and we did it.
Yep,
we did it. So, and now our media is not being it's not being held to a standard of keeping it quiet. And so this stuff is slowly starting to get out to the American public. And, it's just sort of curious. I don't know what your interaction with people is, but I'm fascinated by people who I would describe as good people, but are have been brainwashed into DEI culture, and the reactions I am seeing from them is panic. Of course, we hear the Hitler talk nonstop, and
absolutely.
It just nonstop Hitler talk, and then a lot of anger. A lot of anger because they'll post these things, and you'll have someone who's slightly able to do a little research.
And have you noticed now they're also trying to make it like a class warfare thing as well? That all the clips in the media, and especially Letitia James or whatever, she kept making a point to say, he's an unelected billionaire. A billionaire she keeps trying to make it a class thing. Like, you want this billionaire to have access to your data.
Well, and that's going to be the argument, because it's the only argument they can make. That
and it falls
right. I see it, everyone, and people. It's almost the assassination of Brian Thompson, the head of the UHC insurance company, United Healthcare. Sort of was, to me, a test to see how a focus group, if one may say, to see how the American people would respond to a class warfare system. And I think they believe we responded to it quite well. And
here's the thing: Democrats are never one to let a good tragedy go to waste or whatever. I don't think that they planned that, because I've done a lot of research into that. So that was just something that they didn't control. But they are certainly trying to
but they paid attention to it.
Yeah, and they're
And they
trying
watched,
to capitalize on it.
Yes, exactly. No, and I didn't want to misconstrue that either. I'm just saying that it happened, and they didn't have any problem with the media outlets playing that clip over and over again.
Good to see you, Mama M, by the way. I see you're in the chat.
Mama M.
Welcome back.
Yes. I agree with you, Mama M. I pray for people to try to steal my credit. I should be awarded some sort of honor for it because I would crash their credit in a heartbeat. All right. No, I think that the panic that set in, that's interesting you bring that up because that is definitely the angle we're going to see taken. I don't know if you watched any of the Sunday morning shows today.
I have not.
That's sort of don't ruin your Sunday mornings by watching that. You let the talking heads take care of that. You just go about your day and come by Sunday evening. We'll give you the cliff notes to what those idiots have to say. But of course, like you said, it's going to be nonstop Hitler talk, of course, for any type of corruption exposed. And then on top of that, what you said, as far as the class warfare, which we're seeing a transition. I feel like the racism card has really let the Democrats down this last 20 years of policy they developed.
Yeah, they realize the American people know that they were just being gaslit on that front. So that's pretty much dead. Nobody's paying attention to that anymore. So they got to try another angle.
But this class warfare, dude, this is no joke.
Yeah.
That's a real argument that can be made. And if people are not taken care of and this economy can't get turned around quick enough, then we are in for some serious issues come midterms.
Definitely could be. I don't think Trump is playing it on the cuff though. I think he is, taken this last 4 years and he's developed a plan of exactly what he wants to do. I think he's very calculated in everything he does. I don't think he's doing it fly by night. I think this is like a 3D chess match, and he's 10 moves ahead of whatever the Democrats are trying to do.
Oh, it's by far the most efficient I have ever seen a presidency run, and that comes from, I think, him being elected and then having 4 years to sit after losing, and really forcing him to come up with a solid game plan once he won. Because you could tell, and he even admits it in his interviews, he was not comfortable with all the decisions that had to be made right away, and some of those came back and bit him in the butt. And this time he was not confused as to who was his friend and who wasn't. And even watching Marco Rubio with Netanyahu today, boy, does Trump have that man on a leash. Yeah.
He needs to be.
He needs to be. You're absolutely right. He needs to be on a leash. But it's nice to see that Marco is,
Yep. I agree. I'll forego calling him Little Hands Marco as long as he's doing the right thing.
He's not in an easy position because Trump is making not enemies, but he's not playing by the rules, and he's forcing Mark Rubio to be his face to set that example. And Marco was a system of the machine. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does in his integrity last year.
Absolutely.
All right.
If you want to go ahead and get into our segment about JFK, we can start there.
RFK, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
RFK Jr. Did you watch his acceptance speech? It's 10 minutes long.
I did, and let's play the whole thing if you got it queued up, because it was a really, really moving speech.
Yeah, so congratulations, Mr.
All right, so of course everyone knows to my wildest surprise, RFK got sworn in. I did not think that was going to happen.
I did not, by the way. I thought that was going to be our hardest fight out of all of them.
Yeah, that him and Tulsi for sure. But here he is, and it's sort of, I mean, it's crazy, dude, if you ask me, because here's a man whose uncle was killed, and this wasn't like his family members telling him about his uncle. I mean, he's like 10 years old. You would remember something like that. And it's just sort of, it's a weird poetic justice for the Kennedys. To see a Kennedy taking an oath of office in the White House again was like, I don't know, but like, to me, I mean, they sort of feel like the royal family of America. They've always sort of been portrayed as that, even though we don't believe in monarchies. If there was a monarchy that most Americans could get behind, it was JFK.
Absolutely. He was the Obama of that era, where he had a lot of people, that weren't even into politics really, supporting him and liking him.
I would say he had the likability of Obama right before he got elected first term. But
yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, but he had the resolve to protect American people.
Yeah, he definitely
was. And he's
I'm not comparing him in that regard to Obama at all. Obama was.
I mean, you think about it. What president until Trump came along wasn't doing the bidding of the swamp after Kennedy?
Every single one of them was.
Every single one of them was. And so, like, it's nice that, like, there's some sort of justice within the lifetime of this generation and of RFK to be here in this position of power. And man, you think this guy isn't going to have a heyday? Listen to this speech.
Thanking President Trump for giving me this extraordinary opportunity. And I want to introduce the Shriver. Joey Shriver, 2.5-year journey. My first time in this Oval Office was in 1961, and I came here to meet, or 1962. I came here and I had a meeting with my uncle, who was president then, where we talked about the environment. He was involved deeply, as we all know, in restoring physical fitness to this country. He challenged at one point during his administration, he challenged Americans to do a 50-mile walk, which I ultimately did. But I remember the day that my father completed his walk. We were staying at
I just want to pause this for a minute. I mean, in 1962, the challenge to American high schoolers was to do a 50-mile walk in a day. And when I heard that project, it made me so upset. Because where was that education for us growing up? Where was that role model for us growing up? Can you imagine having a president being like, hey, oh, and by the way, I mean, it's just, and I get, like, obviously, on a more personal level, you have closer role models, but there's no denying the power that a president has in setting the attitude for a nation, good or bad. It just comes with the territory. He's the public relations manager of America Corporation. He's the face of it. If he's out there walking 50 miles every other month, you're going to start looking at yourself and being like, what can I do 50 miles? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I'd like to blame the deep state for my being adversely obese. So if it hadn't been for the deep state and the assassination of JFK, which I feel is a great lawsuit we can bring to the American government, we can find a lawyer to get behind us.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, can you imagine, Project, growing up in school, hearing about your president doing a 50-mile walk?
Well, that's back when we weren't all a bunch of snowflakes. You know, when America was
No.
and strong. Yeah.
I do not accept this snowflake term. This is like the boogeyman of DEI in the control towers, right? It worked out well for a little while, but this is not the
Every generation has been further pussified.
Not pussified, brainwashed. They've been brainwashed, Project. They haven't been pussified.
I say pussified because it's specifically because physically, not even just like, they're brainwashed mentally. I agree with you on that part.
Well, that ties in with your physical attribute. That's all I'm saying is that we have been told by the pharmaceutical companies for the last 60 years that the problem is...
They're a big part of the problem is what I was getting to.
Yeah, well, and I agree, because when you're no one talks about the mental destruction. You know, they always talk about these horrible relationships between men and women. It'll be like they gaslight me, or they're narcissists, or traits you want to avoid in a partner. But you watch any of these true crime shows, and as they're telling the story, they all 50 signs. That is what our government and these large corporations have done to the American people. They have constantly said, "Oh, you have cancer? You're the problem. It was your fault. Oh, you have diabetes? It was your fault. It has nothing to do with the food we put or fed you with. It had nothing to do with the fact of what we made available to you or how we consolidated farms in the 80s. No. It's your fault. It doesn't matter that we told you to eat bread 7 times in a day just so we could get our wheat sales up. And then even when we were exposed, we still didn't change it. No, this is you measly little peasants' fault for becoming weak. And that's where I draw the line. I'm like, no. We were born into a world that treated us as livestock. And us millennials are the first generation en masse to have this great awakening. That's why Trump's elected. And don't get mad at me, Democrats, because you had a solid shot with Bernie. But your party fucked that up. They ruined the chance of Bernie getting elected and having the revelation come through that perspective. But instead, you got greedy, and Hillary wanted to rule the world, and so Trump gets it. And that's really the ultimate FU to you, is that we get to discover all of the corruption now from someone who is ticked off at you. And I think when we discover what the government did to us, not only to us, but to our kids, to our grandkids, the schooling system of people that had the capability of being great teachers, and instead we infected them with the woke virus, and now for the rest of their lives they're useless in the teaching field. That's on you. That's on these institutions and colleges pretending to be bastions of light, but instead we're just cramming down ideology in the term of education and ruining generations of teachers that actually could have taught students something of value. And that's the biggest crime that's going to be uncovered. Sorry, my rant's over, Project, but it gets me so mad when we talk about what could have been and has been wasted for 80 years.
Oops, I was muted. Sorry about that. I agree with you, man. Absolutely. You're right about that. You're 100% right.
Up at Camp David, And my father came in after 18 hours walking on the C&O towpath with his feet bleeding and blisters on them. My father had one of his best friends was Al Lowenstein. And Al Lowenstein ultimately was a congressman from New York who was assassinated himself in 1980. But Al Lowenstein had started the Dump Johnson movement.
I'm just going to hop in here real quick. Never even heard of that guy, but that guy was worried about Americans not being healthy, and somehow he was assassinated too. How many people did we kill in our country? I would love to have that conversation with RFK Jr. How many people did we kill in our? We're going to talk about it later on with this exact. I got a whole kit here, but and I promise we will get through this. But I'm just saying, had you ever heard of this guy, Project? Oh, you're muted, bud.
I have not.
No, me neither. But evidently, he also was assassinated.
To get rid of President Johnson and end the Vietnam War. And at the time that he started it, people just thought it was a fool's errand. And ultimately, he asked my father to run for president against Johnson. My father wouldn't do it at that time, and he asked Gene McCarthy. McCarthy did it, and he joined that campaign. And my father ultimately ran, and Johnson then dropped out. So Al Lowenstein had succeeded. And although Al Lowenstein was on the other side now, running against my father with Gene McCarthy, my father wrote him a note, a quote from Emerson, where he said, if a single man plant himself firmly on his own ideal and there abide, the whole wide world will come around to him. For 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed that God would put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country. On August 23rd of last year, God sent me President Trump. All right. And he gave me...
Now, I just want to point out something. We hear a lot of thoughts and prayers and, and I don't attribute bad will to that, but I also, realize that some people say it just to say it. They don't actually mean it. But when I listen to RFK Jr. say that God answered his prayer by sending Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump survives 4 assassination attempts, 2 of them, one of them he shouldn't have. Possibly 2. And I love Trump's response to this, because this is not a man who is Mussolini that feels that he is God. This is a man that when he hears another grown man his age say that God gave him Donald Trump, I mean, that's a man that's doesn't feel worthy of that praise. And that's what makes Donald Trump a great president.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And by far, that was the most profound real moment of this press conference. And it really, it tugged on my heartstrings, just like I know it did at you as well.
It did, because this is, this is a big deal. And people are going kicking and screaming. But I don't think people understand the significance of the fact that a Republican hired a Democrat to run
2 Democrats, by the way.
Right. One to run the National Intelligence Committee, and one to run the nation's health. And I think that's one of the most not bipartisan things we've ever seen. So,
Absolutely.
People, and this may be one of those things where you just got to take the medicine, and you know what? Your kids are going to reap the benefits, even though you hate the guts of the person that did it. That's how it works sometimes.
I'm so grateful to you, Mr. President. A lot of people told me that I couldn't trust President Trump.
I love this part too. And And I hear this all the time.
I couldn't trust President Trump. I better get it in writing. And we did a handshake, and everything that he told me he was going to do, he has done. Right. And I'm so grateful to him, and I've told you before, I genuinely believe that you are a pivotal historical figure, and you are going to transform this country at a time when we see all of the indicia of democracy now in tatters in our country. We see the rise of the military-industrial complex, the rise of totalitarianism, these attacks on our Constitution, and this breathtaking epidemic that is disabling our people. President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream.
That thought really blew my mind. I mean, broke my heart, really, because let's just say an unhealthy person has one dream, that is to be healthy again. So by keeping people sick, they have forced us into a form of slave labor, where our only focus is to just feel better. And in order to just feel better, we must go to work in order to get insurance, in order to pay for the pills, in order to pay for momentary relief.
Well, see, that in lies the problem. That is planned. That is their intention. That's what they have wanted this whole time. They want to get rid of the middle class. They want to have the poor and then the super elite, which control us all. And they want us to be slaves for them. And this is just one of the ways that they are doing, which is just absolutely, honestly, it's it should be a war crime with it. I mean, not a war crime, but it's very bad. It's very bad.
Oh, it'll go down.
Intentionally, yeah.
It'll go down 1,000 years from now. Historians will point to this time where a nation conducted global medical trials on not just our population, but on the world. And it will be used as, I hope, because of this administration, the light that will be shed from the radical transparency that RFK is promising. It will be a pivot point in medicine, because and I know that there are people. Well, no, I was just saying. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you want to hear something really crazy? Is I think that we already have a cure for cancer and a bunch of these other diseases, but the reason they are not put out there is because it would cost these pharmaceutical companies way too much money.
And we're going to get into stuff like that after we go over the speech, because I understand that there are some people who have never even paid attention to RFK Jr. until the Democratic primary, where he was told where they were told by Rachel Maddow that he was a kook and a predator, and good riddance to him. But I've been following RFK Jr. since at least 2018, thanks to the No Agenda show. And so when these attacks came, thankfully I had prior information given to me about him, so that I knew what I was being told on the news wasn't true. And now some of our people haven't experienced that. And so I do have some clips just to sort of back up what RFK is talking about here, and to really give you the gravity of why, when he talks about this being a pivotal administration like that of Theodore Roosevelt or Abraham Lincoln, or FDR for that matter, the fact that Trump is going to have this administration bring about really the rights of the people back to transparency. I love the fact that there's a Kennedy stuck away in that administration part of this, because in the end, it was JFK who let us know a week before he died that they were planning to enslave us. And it will be RFK, his nephew, that will help bring us out of that horrible last 80 years.
As they get better. President Trump has promised that he's going to restore America's strength. But we can't be a strong nation if we have a weak citizenry. If people are sick, 60% of our people are sick, 77%, as President Trump mentioned, of our children cannot qualify for military service. And
77% don't qualify. Okay, what do other nations think when they hear that? I mean, obviously, we've been a part of a long-term attack to destroy any military force we may have.
We need a man on a white horse now. We need somebody who is willing to come in and has the spine and the guts and the strength to challenge orthodoxies, to stand in the way of vested interests, and to break institutions that have turned against our democracy. President Trump has shown again and again that he is that hero. And most recently, I greatly appreciate it. I called you the day that you announced the termination of USAID. My uncle started USAID.
I love this too when people talk about USAID and saying how Congress got to say. I mean, what? This is from the horse's mouth right here. This is from the nephew of the guy who invented the thing. I think he has a little understanding of the purpose of USAID.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Some of the allies that I've had in this battle for a long time are Senator Rand Paul, Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Roger Marshall, Marjorie Taylor Greene, that are stealing the health of our same thing with the institutions that are stealing the health of our children. We need a revolutionary figure, and you are that figure, and I'm very grateful for you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, it's RFK Jr. and Mama M. This comment right here, I mean, really hits home for us too. It says you're fighting breathing issues. All the doctors you've seen want to treat the symptoms instead of finding the root cause and curing it. We see I'm going back to homeopathic methods.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, Mama M. But I know exactly what you're talking about. I got a lot of health problems myself, and I'm disabled, and I go through a lot of the same issues. So I definitely am with you on that.
Well, that's just it. All 80% of Americans are going through some long-term issue. And it's got to stop. It has to stop. We can't keep having this. And I understand that some people may feel, like, well, what could honestly be the issue here? Like, if you can't cure people, then how would you be able to stay open? I had medical professionals say that to me, like this is some great conspiracy that we just want to keep people sick. We want people to feel better. And that's where this comes in. RFK talks about it a little bit.
Initial inclination would be to use the Justice Department and the moral authority of the office, but also, the Justice Department should immediately call in begin an investigation of the medical boards and the collusion between the pharmaceutical industry and the medical boards that are delicensing these physicians who actually try to heal patients and try to treat them.
By the way, stop it for a second. I also want to say that the point he just brought up about them delicensing the physicians, that's not just happening there. That's happening. That's also happening in the federal court system as well with attorneys, when they're trying to fight this kind of crap. But go ahead. That's the only point I had to make on that. You're muted.
No, you bring up a great point because there was an ideological purge that took place over the last 4 years.
Absolutely.
And it happened in red states and in blue states because it was corporations that set the terms, not the states. And that's the issue here. It's not a state or federal issue, it's corporations that are setting these standards, and they're the ones that need to be held accountable. And this is, when we talk about the medical boards, this is what RFK is talking about right here.
Call in the medical journals that are corrupted by the pharmaceutical industry and explain to them that they're all going to be subject to criminal and civil RICO actions if they don't show us a way that they're going to stop revoking studies and refusing to publish studies that challenge the mercantile interests of pharmaceutical companies. We're going to change the way business is done at NIH.
I love it.
Well, and I love it too, but I think people don't really understand how embedded the medical community is into the government. Now, officially, it started in 2013, was it? 2012 with Obamacare being the final straw that tied the government and medical community together in one big industry. But they had been operating under the scenes for quite some time, and it's led to this comes from a Sabine Hassenfelder. You've probably seen some of her videos on YouTube doing science experiments for kids and stuff, but she's a physicist, I would say around the Neil deGrasse Tyson level, and she's been talking about the corruption in the science field, which would include the medical field as well, this type of ideology. And she's saying that these people, even though they're not really benefiting anyone, what are they going to do if it comes out that their jobs are useless? Like, so obviously you want to create value so you can keep getting paid, right? And so someone sent her this letter, and she just published it yesterday. And of course, the person's anonymous, but I wanted to play a clip of it if that's cool with you, Project. Just to give people an idea here of what's going on in these professional communities, because we hear it so many times. People say, well, leave it to the science, or, you can't, how many times did you hear that during COVID? Leave it to the science. Well, this is why that argument doesn't really hold weight with me.
To read you an email that I was asked to keep confidential. I've been thinking about this for a long time, but I now believe that reading it to you will go some way to explain why I'm worried about the status of scientific research generally, but especially in the foundations of physics. I received this email about 7 years ago after I published a comment in Nature Physics titled "Science Needs Reason to be Trusted." In it, I explained how I lost trust in scientific self-correction after I realized how much of what's published in the foundations of physics is nonsense and continues to be nonsense. This email came from someone who I've met a few times but don't know in any depth, and who at the time worked at a top institution in the United States. To honor the request of confidentiality, I've removed some details. Hi Sabine, I'm if you remember me. I'm not using my work email. The topic is a bit delicate, and I hope that our conversation will remain confidential. I'm contacting you regarding your recent paper in Nature, which made a lot of noise. First of all, congratulations on a nice paper. If you wanted to attract attention, you managed to do this. Actually, I'd like to ask you next time, think not only about short-term personal benefits, but about the community in general. You understand what consequences your publication might bring for our community? What are all these BSM model builders with exaggerated self-opinion going to do afterwards? What about experimentalists who survive hiding inside big multi-TV collaborations? Can you offer them all any decent employment alternatives? Some of them have families and young children. Some of them are already too old to get employment elsewhere. For some of them, academia is the only way to get US visa. If you like, yes, what we created is a bubble, but it helps thousands of those guys and their families not to die from hunger. We all do the same stuff and have some trade secrets. For example, I'm one of the authors of this so-called model. Pretty useless stuff, old refurbished with a couple of new blows and whistles. But if people buy this and it helps them to get grants, who cares? For people who pay us, all we do is just noise. They have zero idea that elementary particles exist. They pay us from public funds, not from their own, and basically
It's just public funds.
Just wow. They're saying the quiet part out loud.
Just public funds, bro. What's the big deal? You want me to keep playing this?
Yeah, absolutely.
pay for something cool, some new crazy hype, which they need either to include into their science spending reports or, in case of universities, to attract students. Your paper made a lot of noise and most likely will affect redistribution of HEP funds towards other areas, but I doubt that you'll be able to suggest and implement any organizational changes. Also, any changes of quality criteria which would demonstrate uselessness of somebody's work will have zero chance of approval. I understand that all what I wrote above might sound a bit harsh, sorry for this, but this is how our society is built, and this is not only a problem in the HEP community, but also exists in all other areas. My heart is bleeding when I regularly see bright and intelligent persons with independent ways of thinking leaving academia or getting kicked out, whereas obedient.
You know, when the crying liberals talk about Hitler and Trump, this stuff has been going on for decades. It's already here, people. It's already, this ideological contamination has taken over the scientific field, the medical fields for decades. And people are now just waking up to it. And as we can see here by this letter, they do not plan on changing it without being forced to.
The entitlement is strong with this one.
Oh, my heart bleeds for those bright and intelligent people who could do great things, but because we bully them for thinking differently, there's nothing we can do.
Idiots remain, but there's nothing we can do. Those who get kicked out usually find better opportunities outside of academia. Those who remain in academia accept the rules and enjoy the.
It's for their own good.
It works out for them.
Comfort of academic life. Of course, sometimes there are exceptions like string theorists Smolin and White, but I doubt you'd like to share their destiny. I'm reading this to you as an illustration, a rare example of somebody else's honest words. I can't prove to you that this email is real, so you'll have to take my word for it. In contrast to the person who sent this email, I don't think that taxpayers are stupid. We're not.
All right. So that's Sabrine. What was it? Sabrine Hassenfelder. Sabine Hassenfelder. Look her up on YouTube.
Let's hear her response. I'd actually like to hear her response on that.
Okay. All right.
Physicists for crazy new hype. We want to see results. And soon taxpayers will start asking some tough questions. An example. So they told you that this Dune experiment that's being built from some billions of dollars of public funds at Fermilab will tell us why we exist or why the universe didn't disappear. I regret to inform you that it won't do any such thing. Regardless of what the result of the Dune experiment will be, it'll not tell us why the universe contains more matter than antimatter, because this question is impossible to answer within the context of our current theories. The matter-antimatter symmetry that Dune is supposedly shedding light on is a pseudo-problem. It's a story that physicists have made up that they're now selling to the public, because they think that once they have the money, it doesn't really matter if they deliver what they promised. Though, to be fair, I think that some of them are honestly confused about what CP violation in the neutrino sector even says about antimatter. What will the experiment do? It'll measure some properties of neutrinos. What's that good for? It's good for keeping particle physicists employed, because some of them have families and it'd be unfair if they had to do something useful for their income, wouldn't it? And has anyone even noticed that the US government spent another $2 billion or so on a new particle collider at Brookhaven? Its purpose is to improve measurements of the quark and gluon distribution.
And I want to say something here with the particle colliders. Those are going to cause us massive problems. They're doing things that are against the laws of physics. And I don't know if you've looked into any of that stuff, but if something goes wrong there, they can create a massive black hole, or not a massive black hole, but it can really cause problems and turn into a massive black hole. So that's some scary shit that we really should not be playing with, in my opinion.
I've heard this stuff too. I'm an avid fan of Coast to Coast AM. So when that first fired up in 2013, it was all over my radar. And I find it interesting because her argument is that this is just a huge waste of money that actually can't do anything. And we're just being sold pseudoscience to fund other things. And we're being told that that's part of the mind control technique, is that, you could open up a black hole, different portals, the Mandela effect. But according to her, and I'm not, listen, I don't know. I'm not a physicist. And
well,
I don't know.
How I've seen it is the principle is correct. We've seen it generate the small antimatter or whatever, so it actually does work in that effect. But the whole thing about building it and harnessing it to like that's you're never going to be able to do anything with. That's so far outside of anything that we could possibly conceive or think of right now. It's just a huge waste of money, and I think that's what she means by that.
And I'm going to defer to you because this is way out of my field. I will say that I feel that the beginning of CERN being told to the American people, like if you had this big of a project, why would you tell the American people, right? So first of all, look into the investors of who own CERN. That will tell you a million things. No Agenda did it for me years ago, and I for the life of me, I can't pull it up. But look into the the corporation that.
Yeah, I've looked into that as well. I don't remember who it is off the top of my head, but it wasn't good people.
Yeah, it's not good people. And then second, 2013, they fire it up the same year where we're legally allowed to propagandize against the American people. So, I mean, wouldn't it maybe this is just a big PSYOP project where they're just, hey, let's get this group of people to talk about CERN for the next 200, and every time something creepy happens, we'll just line it up with collider dates. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, to me, I can't trust anything right now. But here, let's watch. She's got some more stuff to say on this.
Inside of heavy ions. What's it good for? You're not supposed to ask. You're supposed to believe that you're too stupid to understand what it's good for. But let me fill you in. It's good for keeping particle physicists employed. Meanwhile, the Chinese are laughing their asses off that youth.
First of all, I think she's German, and this sense of humor, it's sort of like macabre British humor. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I love it. I love her sense of humor. And she does bring up a good point. You know, you don't see China investing, you know, all these millions and billions of dollars into this crap.
We should reach out to her and see if we can get her on the show.
Think it makes your country worth defending. That particle physicists have created these bubbles of useless research is not a problem that can be fixed from inside the community. The only way to fix the problem is to stop paying them. I'm afraid that this is exactly what's going to happen. I didn't want this to happen. This is why I wrote my 2017 comment. But at this point, it's too late for them to change anything about it. I've read this email dozens of times, and each time I'm stunned by how condescending it is to all the people who do honest work and whose taxes pay for academic jobs.
Well, and that's just it, people. In the end, I'm not saying individual Democrats, but in the end, the Democrat leadership view you as too dumb to take care of yourself. And when you view your constituents as too idiotic to operate as a human being without the help of them, that's how you get projects like this, because they have no respect for you. Listen, you can talk to any Democrat and they will tell you how much they love poor people and how much they want to help poor people. Because why do they want to help poor people? Because poor people can't help themselves. You know what a person is who can't help themselves? They're mentally challenged. That's the only adult that I know that doesn't know how to take care of themselves properly. So now you're telling me that the Democrat Party is telling you, listen, Johnny, you're not smart enough to get a full-time job that can pay your bills. So we're just going to give you money, Johnny. We'll give you a cell phone, and we'll give you an apartment that can you pay $50 a month for it, Johnny? Are you even able to do that? We'll get you some vouchers, Johnny. And Johnny, we'll get you some gas vouchers so you can bounce from part-time job to part-time job. Instead of right off the bat telling Johnny, hey, Johnny, you know what? You may not be good in this area, but I tell you what, you could really do a lot for your community in this area. Let me help you learn how to do that. Now, that's not their solution. Their solution is you're too dumb.
Absolutely. And I actually agree with you on that, because there are so many things, like even people that are disabled, like myself, or, you know, Mama M with her problems, you know, where we may not be able to do certain jobs or physical jobs or things like that. But there are so many other things that we can do and still make a good contribution to society, and support ourselves without government handouts. And, you know, and we need to start teaching people the way to do that, how to do that, instead of just paying and subsidizing them. We need to, it goes back to that old saying, teach a man how to fish, don't give him a fish, or whatever. You know, I forget how it goes. I think would say, I forget exactly, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
I forget
well,
the exact saying.
I believe that people have potential to be great in their own way, and the power of the individual. Now, sure, and that's the problem that's why the Department of Education is getting thrown out, because remember the program No Child Left Behind? All that was to leave children behind that couldn't fit within the mold of corporate America. That's who sponsored the bill. That's who wrote the bill. That's who set the scores for kids across the nation. And if you were gifted in one area that did not fall within the realms of sitting in a cubicle for the rest of your life or in a factory, then you were just tossed aside. And then there was meth pumped into these areas where high dropout areas existed. And of course, these kids got addicted. And you say, well, they chose to. Go look at South Africa and how they handled their population. The one thing I love about South Africa is they told all the scientists there, listen, full pardons for everyone. Just tell us what you did. And so they did. And there was documents of scientists that were hired specifically to create drugs that would just decimate a male population. Just decimate them. And you ask yourself, well, why would they want to decimate their workforce? Well, it's because they didn't have enough high-value jobs, and you don't want to share that money. So let's consolidate the issues here. Let's just lump them all. We'll pay them all $35 a week, and we'll make the drug dirt cheap. That's what the government, they call us conspiracy theorists, but that's what the South African government, it wasn't accidental. They're like, oh, you know what? This drug's out here, methadone. I wonder if we could use it for our benefit. No, they created the drug to use it for their benefit, to purposely destabilize their male population. Why? Because you don't want black men overthrowing your white, that's what it was about. That's what it was about. You wanted to keep the majority in check. Blacks outnumbered the whites heavily in South Africa. What do? To keep power? You drug the men so they can't respond. And you can make the argument, well, they shouldn't have got addicted to drugs. Well, when you've got no work and no ability to provide for your family, these are the things that happen.
I'm going to make another point too about that is methadone in particularly, it lowers your libido. So that makes you a lot less aggressive. That makes you a lot less, you don't want to procreate. You're a lot less likely to want to overthrow the government. And also that goes to the second topic of depopulation, which has been one of the globalist key initiatives that they have been trying to accomplish. So that also helps in that aspect too for them. So that absolutely, you're definitely right on that.
Well, and I don't think we'll ever see that type of transparency. I'm just saying what one country did, and it just so happens that all of that was discovered in 1987. And then, it just feels like the same formula is being used here. And I get it. People are thinking Trump's all Hitler and stuff, but I'm telling you, no, this was by design. This whole belief that, the more wealthy you get, the less children you bear is because of people choose not to have kids. And I would just want to see that study done where the middle class encompasses everyone, and then see how, because we haven't seen that since the 50s, and I just don't believe that science. I got a couple of more things just to go round out the medical field. Bill Gates is in the news. He just dropped his new biography. So, we talked about this, what was it, a couple weeks ago, Project? Billy Boy's got 30 people working for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's something interesting that Billy Boy was working on in 2019.
Is among a dozen individual donors and 14 foundations backing the first stratospheric solar geoengineering experiment out of Harvard. It's called Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment, or SCOPEX. A high-altitude balloon will lift instruments about 20 kilometers into the stratosphere, where it will release less than 2 kilograms of different naturally occurring chemicals, like calcium carbonate and sulfates, and then measure the change in atmospheric chemistry and light scattering. A study last year found that
mean
no
cloud
existing aircraft
seeding?
can inject the stratosphere at a high enough altitude, but develop.
Say what? Say what now?
Oh, you mean cloud seeding?
No. This is more diabolical than cloud seeding. So, cloud seeding, old news, buddy. Everyone's past that. They're on to their next thing, sun refraction.
Developing a new high-altitude tanker would not be technologically difficult or prohibitively expensive. Nozzles still need to be designed that can continuously blast out trillions of particles, and scientists still need to decide what chemicals those particles should be made of. But unlike cloud brightening, which is another solar reflection technique, the tech needed for stratospheric injections is not far off.
The technology is not the main thing that's holding this back. The main thing that's holding it back is the uncertainty about what the exact effects would be and the positives and negatives of its effects, and the governance and decision-making process for implementing it.
Other radical attempts to control climate change have been tested in the past, like when one California businessman dumped 100 tons of iron dust in the Pacific to spawn the growth of carbon-absorbing plankton. But unlike small, sometimes rogue experiments, planet-wide solar geoengineering will require buy-in from the international community.
You know, in our simulations, we found China got
Do you actually believe, Project, that these guys have not tested this out yet?
Oh, that they've been doing it for years, guarantee it.
And there was just yet another huge flood in Kentucky and North Carolina today.
got warmer and drier relative to the past when you stabilized global temperature, and India was now cooler and wetter. So you can see there how, you know, international relations around using this technology could become complicated.
I mean, we can't even decide on what to do about emissions of greenhouse gases, and so how are we going to decide on setting the planetary thermostat?
There's the real concern that we won't be able to reach agreement.
Solar radiation management. They want to block the sun. This has nothing to do with creating little storms so that it can rain. This has everything to do with blocking the sunlight. Which, one miscalculation? What happens? Just everyone dies? And Bill Gates, I I've been running a little long on this segment here. I apologize, Project, but I just want to go over Bill Gates and sort of his tie-in to Fauci, because Bill Gates' father, there's a picture of him, and I can post this on the Twitter afterwards. But Bill Gates Sr., who we know was a eugenicist, a firm believer in, and passed that belief on to his son, was friends with the person who financed the AIDS clinic with which Dr. Fauci ran. All of those people in the Reagan administration, from NPR all the way to Secretary of State, I believe that's who it was, if I remember correctly. All of these people were friends. And so Bill Gates on his end is over there taking care of business. But I came across a very interesting segment on Fauci. And this may play in to why Fauci has received a pardon. Now, and I know our listeners here are extremely intelligent. But just in case you need something to show people on a video, look into Dr. Carrie Mullis, who worked with Dr. Fauci and was also the inventor of the... You remember when everyone had to get their COVID test and they shoved that thing all the way to the back of your nose? That was this guy. He invented this test, right? Listen to him talk about Fauci and the test that was used to test whether you had COVID or not.
What is it? What is it about humanity that wants to go to all the details and stuff and listen? You know, these guys like Fauci get up there and start talking. You know, he doesn't know anything really about anything, and I'd say that to his face. Nothing. The man thinks you can take a blood sample and stick it in an electron microscope, and if it's got a virus in there, you'll know it. He doesn't understand electron microscopy, and he doesn't understand medicine, and he should not be in a position like he's in. Most of those guys up there on the top are just total administrative people, and they don't know anything about what's going on the bottom. You know, those guys.
No, I know what you're saying. Who is this guy? Oh, he just won the Nobel Peace Prize Award for creating one of the most successful tests for viral detection. And he's out here saying Dr. Fauci has not one clue how science works. And then he broke the fourth wall, looked in the camera, and said he'd say it to his face. So I'm going to go with this guy, right?
Have got an agenda, which is not what we would like them to have.
Well, they've got an agenda that who?
Being that we pay for them to take care of our health in some way. They've got a personal kind of agenda. They make up their own rules as they go. They change them when they want to, and they smugly, like Tony Fauci, does not mind going on television in front of the people that pay his salary and lie directly into the camera. You can't.
This was said in the 90s. In the 90s.
You can't expect the sheep to really respect the best and the brightest. They don't know the difference, really. I mean, I like humans. Don't get me wrong, but basically, the vast majority of them do not possess the ability to judge who is and who isn't a really good scientist. I mean, that's a problem. That's a main problem actually with science, I'd say, in this century, because science is being judged by people. Funding is being done by people who don't understand it. Okay, who do we trust? Fauci? Fauci doesn't know enough to, you know. If Fauci wants to get on television with somebody who knows a little bit about this stuff and debate him, he could easily do it because he's been asked. I mean, I've had a lot of people, president of the University of South Carolina asked Fauci if he'd come down there and debate me on the stage in front of the student body, because I wanted somebody who was from the other side to come down there and balance because I felt like, well, these guys can listen to me, but I need to have somebody else down here that's going to tell me the other side. But Fauci didn't want to do it.
Wow. Yeah, he's not right. I mean, he's not wrong there. Everything he's saying is spot on.
It's the season of the reveal. And the reason Fauci got pardoned, I think, is far more diabolical than just some political activism. And we need to, you know, when people bring stuff like that up, man, just show them their peers, what their peers had to say. You know what? Let's see if we can't get Dr. Carrie Mullins, inventor of the PCP test. I think it's PCT test, on the show. Oh, wait, we can't. That's right. He died right before COVID happened.
Oh, interesting. What a coincidence.
Now, I'm looking into how he died. Wouldn't you know, in 2019, he died of a pneumonia-like disease.
Hmm.
Huh. I mean, I would love to see if he died of COVID.
I agree with you.
I mean, that's what it says.
And why wouldn't they just say pneumonia? Why would they say pneumonia-like unless it didn't fit the exact characteristics of pneumonia?
Well, it makes you wonder too. Like, what about old Jim Henson? You know, was he not getting along the political bandwagon with training America's youth? He died of sudden pneumonia issues too. Anyway, I think this Dr. Carrie Mullis, who was a rival and Nobel Peace Prize winner, who had serious issues with Fauci. It's fascinating that he doesn't. He's not around when we could have really stood to hear him.
I agree with you.
That's my segment on the RFK. This is why we need RFK Jr. people. This is why we need RFK Jr. It's because these types of shenanigans have been going on for too long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He RFK is he's in tune to what's going on. He's been involved in it. He's been doing massive amounts of research in it for many years and decades, actually. And if there's anybody that can get us back on track and root out the evil and wrongdoing and corruption and everything else, when it comes to our healthcare industry, our science industry, all of that, food industry, he's the one to do it.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
You got anything else on that?
Nope. That's it. That's my little segment on RFK Jr. We move on now.
Okie dokie. I'm going to try to pull up here. I had where'd it go? I had something lined up here. Okay, there it is. All right, let me pull this tab up here for us. Make sure you guys can see that.
Oh, Alex.
Okay, good. Yep. Got a little Alex Jones here. Now, before I start that, I said before I start that, so Elon, and I had that tweet loaded up also, but I don't know what happened to it. Let me see if someone else down here might have showed it. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's see if you guys can read that. Maybe I can pull it up bigger. There we go. All right, so Elon commented, somebody posted here, it would sure be great if Elon Musk could take a look inside Fort Knox just to make sure that 4,580 tons of U.S. gold is there. Last time anybody looked was 50 years ago in 1974. And Elon Musk commented back, surely it's reviewed at least once a year, which obviously we know that's not the case. And I think he knew that too. I think he was just being hyperbolic. So then Rand Paul commented back, nope, let's do it. So Elon Musk is planning on going and auditing Fort Knox, and he's going to see where the gold went, because I really don't think it's still there. And we'll get into the ramifications of that a little bit later, but I'll just read this. This is a good little piece here, and this is by Live PD Dave here. So Fort Knox, Kentucky. For over 50 years, the U.S. government has refused to open Fort Knox for a full, transparent audit. Why? What are they hiding? The last so-called inspection was in 1974, and it was nothing more than a dog and pony show where a hand-picked group of reporters got a quick peek at a quick peek at a sliver of the vault, while the rest remained locked away, unverified, and off limits to the American people. Now, Elon Musk is demanding answers. When financial news site Zero Hedge posted about the missing audit, Musk responded in shock. It would be great if so I showed you that already. Surely it is, right? Or has the government been lying to us for decades? Where's the gold? A scandal brewing for half a century. The cold hard truth, nobody actually knows how much gold is inside Fort Knox, or if it's even there at all. The last real audit was 1953, when inspectors barely examined 5% of the reserves. Since then, the government has shut down every attempt at an independent investigation. Why? Because they don't want us to know the truth, which is obviously the gold is gone. And this brings me to the next point, which is Ron Paul. He has been warning about this for a while now, but former Congressman Ron Paul has warned for years that something is rotten inside Fort Knox. The Sound Money Defense League has called out the shocking lack of transparency, raising questions about whether the gold has been stolen, secretly sold, or pledged as collateral to foreign entities. If the gold is there, why won't they prove it? Why has every attempt to verify America's wealth been met with stonewalling, secrecy, and bureaucratic silence? Trump, Musk, and Dodge are closing in. The panic begins. Now, President Trump and Musk are forcing the issue. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is preparing to blow the doors open, and Washington is in full-blown panic mode. The Federal Reserve, Treasury officials, and the deep state bureaucrats are scrambling. They know that if Musk and Doge get inside Fort Knox, the truth will finally be exposed. What if the gold isn't there, which is where we're going next? What if it's been drained to fund globalist agendas, which it has? What if the American people have been fed a lie for the last 50 years, which we were? For too long, the elites have treated Fort Knox like their own personal piggy bank, untouchable, unaccountable, and completely hidden from the people who actually own it. But their days of hiding behind locked doors and bureaucratic excuses are over. We will get inside. We will see the truth. And if the gold is gone, if the government has been lying for half a century, then heads will roll, and the biggest financial scandal in U.S. history will finally be exposed. Open the vaults, show us the gold, or admit the scam.
That's why I'm saying, dude, they got to have a backup plan before they do that. They all have to sit down and figure it out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. So what do you think? Before I get into the ramifications there, let's talk about the whether you think the gold's actually there or not.
No. 100% not there. Not
what
there.
About
We've been
you guys in the audience?
It doesn't even matter because our currency isn't backed by gold.
Well, the currency may not be backed by gold, but that is the only thing that would. I don't know how to explain this. When everything goes to shit, when it comes to this fiat currency, that is the only thing that that we have as collateral that would lament our power still.
Now, I believe we have access to a lot of gold, and we can make that work. I don't feel like we're. I mean, you know what? Canada may have more gold than we do, too. That may be the push to get Canada over on our side.
It is.
No, but either way, it's not there. Like it's just not there, and everyone knows it. So we got to have some sort of solution. We're not going to announce it's not there until we have some sort of solution how to fix it. Otherwise, if we just announce it's not there, everything's going to crash.
Well, that's my concern is from my perspective, what it needs, we all know it needs to happen. We need to know the truth. The truth has to come out, and the people that did this need to be held accountable. But in the America First aspect, the ramifications of that are astronomically bad. And that scares the hell out of me, and it should scare the hell out of all of you as well.
Invest in gold. I mean, it'll just go up. So just keep buying your gold for right now, because when that hits, you know, that gold's going to be worth something.
So that brings me to my next point here, which is this little clip from Alex Jones, which he kind of explains, you know, what's been happening with the gold and what is going to happen when we find out the truth. It's a short little clip, so we'll just let it play all the way through here.
It is Sunday, February 16th, 2025. I'm already up here at the office gearing up for tonight's show. So we absolutely massive key news analysis 4 to 8 p.m. Central Time. But I wanted to just do a quick update on Doge and the fact that Elon is now starting to make noises about auditing the U.S. gold reserves that have not been at Fort Knox, who have not been audited since the early 1970s, 1974 to be precise. We've also been talking for months, really the first to be doing it with Dr. Kirk Elliott, a great economist, that there are record levels of gold being shipped back into New York and into the U.S. government vaults there as well. It takes months and months now to even be able to get your gold out of the National Central Bank there in England, in London. And so there are short supplies of gold all over the world taking place because they've always been shorting it and naked shorting it and manipulating it. You know, the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgans, the whole BlackRock combine, and manipulating the price of it the whole time. Even when they didn't have big holdings of it, they would just do it on paper. It's a giant scam, and Elon's also talked about that. So a lot of stuff is coming to a head. All these giant debts are growing and growing, and most of these big companies and hedge funds really don't have much of the assets they claim they do. It's all leveraged. And so the fact that you see what's happening with gold, but also with silver, because it's such an industrial metal, we've never seen this level of a lack of silver. All of this is forming a perfect storm, and you're going to see some very, very big moves in the near future. But I guarantee you, Doge is going to go investigate the gold, and it's also going to investigate the private Federal Reserve that's been heavily involved in that, that's been saying it's above the law and Trump can't tell them what to do. Well, Congress can revoke their charter. And so first you have to go in and show these agencies and groups and private corporate groups masquerading as government have engaged in a bunch of fraud, then they're politically destroyed, then you can take them over. This is a real revolution. God bless you all. Follow me on X at Real Alex Jones, and I'll be on the air at 4 p.m. Central today. Thank you.
Thank you. Relax, Jones.
So how about that, man?
Yeah, about that. Well, Alex Jones dropping some factoids. I tell you what, whatever happens, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And just expect normal bitching from the Democrats about how Trump's ruined the economy.
And another thing I want to go ahead.
Nope, you're good.
Another thing I want to say is if we are going to have that go down, I would much rather have it go down under a Trump presidency instead of some snowflake Democrat or puppet Democrat who you know, strength has Trump is powerful. He knows what to do, especially when it comes to business and finance and everything. So if you're going to have a leader in charge to pick up the pieces on this, who would you rather have, Trump or somebody like freaking Biden?
Oh, even worse, dude. I got this clip of Kamala from earlier this week. Look, this could have been our president during this moment.
For those rights to be maintained, which means we have to be vigilant, and it's just the nature of it.
I mean, look what I mean.
How drunk is she? She's so wasted.
His beautiful play and everything that we know, he was suppressed. He had to suppress so much, but he knew, and he we took those risks, but we have to be clear-eyed. And it doesn't mean we don't see the beauty in everything, right? These things all coexist. But I believe we fight for something, not against something. Right. And that's our optimism, right?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. With that, I'm leaving.
She's definitely out of her mind there on something. I'm waiting for the little minis to fall out on out of her coat pocket there.
It's such a bad angle for her. It's all about just surviving. I'm happy for her. I think for a first female president, because it'll happen eventually, but for her to be it, and then for her to just, the country, we already talked about the rough time we're about to go through, but she would have destroyed it. Would have been destroyed. Look at that face. Can you imagine that face talking to Bill Gates or Anthony Fauci? Okay. You want to block the sunlight to cool the planet?
Sure.
Oh, we dodged a bullet, man.
Speaking of that, did you see the unedited CBS interview of her that came out?
We played it on Phantom Facts last Wednesday.
Do you have the clip? You want to pull it up?
I tell you what, you give me 10 minutes to figure out what folder I've put it in, because I have 10 of them titled Last Show. And so you buy me some time, buddy, and I will find it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, but they Trump sued CBS over that, and part of the settlement that they reached was for them to release the full unedited version of Kamala's interview with CBS. And if you guys, like I said, if you guys don't remember, they doctored the interview, and it was provable because one section that they showed in their teaser was completely different than the actual section they showed when they played the interview. And
no, when I heard that, dude, when I heard that it had been doctored, my initial reaction is, oh, they just took out the incessant word whiskers she's known for. You know what I mean? The like 5 minutes of wrapping around a subject, and then maybe just catching a segment of it. That's what I assumed they meant when they said it was doctored. But it was the complete opposite. It was so intentional. There is no way to hide it. It blew my mind.
And that's why I want to show you guys this, because they butchered it. They chopped it up so much. They added sections that she had nothing to do with what she was saying into what she was saying to make it sound good, to make her not sound like a lunatic. It was just absolutely horrendous.
It was purposeful. And that's why when they talk about her CBS getting sued for $10 billion, every cent, because this was Gestapo stuff. This was Russian propaganda. Oh, it was so blatant. Here, I got the clip. I found it. Sorry for taking so long there. But yeah, no, take a. I'll play this clip here. It's so obvious. Me and the research director for Phantom Facts watched it together, and we sort of had the same expectation. It'd just be like, she'd be like, "Oh, ha ha," and they'd cut out her awful cackle. But no, watch this.
There's no audio, buddy.
Oh, my apologies. Well, let's give me a sec here. Pull this up here. Give me a thumb. You still nothing? Give me a sec here. No screen. Just working out the kinks here.
Yeah, give us a second. We'll work it out here, folks.
All right, here we go.
Very much prompted by
We're good.
result of many things.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it's
all right. First of all, before we get to what the edited answer was, this answer is saying how we've helped is by using USAID to propagandize people. So we've done our part. That's what she's admitting to right there. So of course you can't have a president saying that you're influencing another nation's population. So of course CBS comes back and they change the answer to this.
It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
That's a completely different answer.
Exactly. They completely cut it to shreds, just completely changed everything that she said. 100% intentional.
That's a completely different answer.
And this is why nobody trusts the mainstream media. This is why platforms like us continue to grow. This is why X is the #1 news site in the world. And by the way,
it is.
While we're on it, if you like what we do, this channel is fan funded. So 96 or 97% of our income comes from donations, from your contributions. So if you like what we do, if you like this show, if you like the news that we post, if you like the articles that I write on a weekly basis, feel free, consider donating to us. Our Cash App and stuff is scrolling down the bottom of the screen there, both Corey's and mine. You also can contribute. I started up a Patreon, which I dropped the link in the chat for everybody. Go ahead and subscribe to our Patreon. And what you can do there is we have a live chat section to where you can connect directly with us. And I got to give you the info to that, by the way. But
it's news to me.
Yeah. But you can connect directly to us. And there's also a way for you to submit tips if you want us to air anything or anything you want us to look at. There's a lot of cool things there. And one of the benefits that you get if you contribute at the $20 level or above, which there's really only 3 levels. So the $20 one is the only one that matters as far as this, really. But if you contribute at that level, you also get all the digital products I sell for free, which are you get the trifold, which the trifold of Fifth Amendment cop cards, which are what we put together. I put together to teach people their rights on how to interact with police. So that's something that you get automatically for free with that $20 contribution. as well as Pocket Constitution. We also sell a digital Pocket Constitution. You get that for free as well. So that's just, you know, a few ways that you can contribute or help us out if you like what we do. And that's pretty much it. Oh, the other thing you can do is if you can't contribute financially, you can like and share the stream and leave comments. That helps us out more than you know. That probably helps us out the most because that
That's the
helps
most.
us.
Yeah, word of
That,
mouth, you know, or
yep.
if you have information or documentation dealing with something we've talked about, and you email us down there in the bottom, that's valuable to us too. You know, like maybe you don't have any money, maybe you're a struggling investigative journalist like the rest of us, but you want to get something out to a bigger platform. Email us, and, you know, get in contact with us because we're all in this together, especially here on X. This is
We
new.
want to help people. We are a platform to help people, and that's our main goal. You saw that with our last show that we did, you know, and you know that's where we want to go with that. We want to try to help people and use our platform for good. And you know, if God's going to bless us and give us this platform, we want to use it wisely and do our best to pay it forward and help others. So that's what we're doing pretty much. So enough of my rambling on that.
It's no, it's I appreciate it because I wouldn't do it. So
I hate to do it, but you know, like I said,
I
that's
put that on
how
you. No, I
we
put
keep
that
the. It's the only way to keep the bills paid and the lights on. So it's a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Yes, but we appreciate it, and we understand times are tough. So, if anything, communication. You know, that's you know, we value that above all else. Like and subscribe. All right, let's move it on. Second half of the show. Project, what do you got? You got anything else?
No, man. If you got something, go ahead.
I got two things, short things. I wanted to go over. First of all, have you ever heard of Project Monarch under the MK Ultra?
I've heard MK Ultra, yes, but Project
Okay.
Monarch in specific, is that the same thing or is that something different? I've never heard it referred to as that.
It's under the umbrella. Really, when people say MK Ultra is the stem, and it encompassed all these other projects and tests underneath of it with different names. You know, so you'll hear Operation Climax, Midnight Climax, or you know, Operation Shaver, or, you know, all these different things, but they're all under the umbrella of MK Ultra. And we at Phantom Facts have been doing some work on Project Monarch, and I just wanted to play a teaser. That's really it. Of mind control, right? And especially when it comes, Project Monarch is specialized with young artists that are female. You may remember South Park doing a silly episode about Britney Spears being the chosen one for Sacrifice.
Yep.
Okay,
I saw that episode.
Okay, so this is their belief that there is actually a cabal of people that do this, that sacrifice young women. Madonna is the head priestess. Now, this is, you know, we're getting off into the weeds here, but JoJo Siwa, do you remember JoJo Siwa? Niece's talking about her.
I know exactly who she is.
Mm-hmm.
She's yeah. She's certainly special. I'll put it that way.
Well, and I mean, do you follow Britney Spears on Instagram like I do?
I do not.
It is one of the most fascinating things to do, man. Like, I do it more out of just sheer curiosity because Britney Spears paid a heavy price for American entertainment. And so I don't mean to mock her in any way. I don't want to come across that
absolutely.
way.
I actually follow one of the people that led the Britney Spears movement. That surprise witness, BJ Corville. She's one of my favorite creators, actually. But she's one of the people that led that charge when they tried to make her a slave. Well, they did make her a slave, essentially. So, yeah. But go ahead.
Well,
That's it. I'm getting off track.
No, it's right on track because I feel the same plan listen to this interaction with JoJo Siwa today.
Me, I'm 21.
You're 21?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so young.
I'm a baby still.
When was your birthday?
May 19th. I just turned 21.
Oh my God. Do you drink now?
So, I don't drink. There's this person named Radical Rick. Radical Rick drinks. I don't know who it is, but all of a sudden Radical Rick is like,
Look at no eye contact being made. I don't have research director available here for instant analysis on body language. I don't know what that means though when you're saying this and it's sort of like this down look. Are you aware? I'll play the clip again here.
Oh, you're so young.
I'm a babe.
I'm talking about after she mentions Radical Rick, her eyes divert to the ground and she cannot make eye contact.
Still.
When was your birthday?
May 19th. I just turned 21.
Oh my God. Do you drink now?
So, I don't drink. There's this person named Radical Rick. Radical Rick drinks. I don't know who it is, but all of a sudden Radical Rick is like, I want to play, and...
Is that your alter ego?
That is my drunk alter ego.
And he gets drunk. Why is it a guy?
Yeah. Oh, it's not. It's a girl.
Oh, okay.
Her name is Radical Rick, though.
Oh,
it's definitely a boy's name.
Got it.
Gentlemen, I just want to throw this out here for you. If you're having a conversation with a beautiful young lady and she mentions her alter ego is a raging alcoholic, walk away. Just walk away. Don't engage any past that. Don't look at her.
Run the other way. Fast.
Don't. If you believe in the Bible, that would constitute a Lot's wife situation. Just like, listen, she's going to be salty 30 years from now. You cannot tell me when I see people like Miley Cyrus that she is a happy woman. Right? Is she? She's not a happy woman.
No, she's another one that has fallen into that same trap.
Yeah. She's yeah, exactly. A slave to the these are victims. That's how I view it, right? That's exactly what they are. So, and I'm beginning to believe, I shouldn't say I'm beginning to believe that there was a systematic way to go about creating someone like this that was, willing to, this person you're having a conversation with is acting like a 9-year-old. Doesn't that scream trauma to you?
Bobby.
Yeah, you get the vibes.
Yeah.
It's stemmed, we have bikes out here that we go and ride, and my bike, the brand name is Radical Rick. And I saw it and I was like, I need this one. Like, Radical Rick's hysterical.
Absolutely. 100% that screams trauma.
All right. LMD says looking down to the left is now when I rewatched it, I'll be honest. When I rewatched it, it wasn't down to the left. She was to the side and kept looking to the side at her. So she was making eye contact, but her body was shifted and she was looking to the side. It wasn't down and to the left. But it was weird nonetheless. Show that clip to your kids, Just be like, listen, guys, you meet a girl like this, dangerous, will ruin your life. And we'll blame it all on Radical Rick. Yes, Mama, you got good advice. I agree. But yeah, no, we're gonna have to do a deeper dive into the system there.
Speaking of that, they're actually, have you seen what they've been doing to Wendy Williams lately? They're doing the same thing they did to Britney Spears to Wendy Williams.
Yes, we actually covered that. We actually covered that last Wednesday. I've got a clip of it if you want me to. It's let me find it here.
There's a clip, Matt Wallace on his channel, where he shows Wendy Williams looking out the window of the place that they got her locked up in, practically screaming for help. And it really touched my heart.
They're having a full-on interview with her. Here it is, right here.
Williams is locked in a room in an assisted living facility in New York. That's her. The only way I could interview her was to have a camera in the street because we can't get a camera in. She can't really have any visitors. She cannot go outside. She's been out twice in the last 30 days. She has no internet. She, and I think rightly says, she feels like a prisoner.
Are you allowed to go out?
No. In the last 30 days, I went out twice.
She is in a guardianship. And I got to tell you, Lauren, if you saw the Lifetime documentary on her when she was deep into alcohol a couple of years ago, it made sense to have a guardianship. Wendy is sober now. She is fine. I have spoken with her for hours and hours, as have many others. And everybody comes up with the same conclusion. She's back to the old Wendy. Yet, she's not only in a guardianship, it's a guardianship that has essentially locked her up and thrown away the key. She has been diagnosed with something called frontotemporal dementia. That's what Bruce Willis has. That condition never gets better. It only gets worse. There is a similar diagnosis.
And I just want to point something out, that the condition that they supposedly diagnosed her with is pseudoscience anyway. The thing that they use, this brain scan technology that they use to diagnose her with it, is complete malarkey. It's just gibberish. It's garbage. It's not real science. It's not real medical at all. And it's also funded by the people that fund the research for this guy doing it. It's funded by the same people that have the conservatorship on her. If you follow BJ Corville, BJ Investigates, I was telling you about earlier, she digs really deep into this. I really highly suggest you all check her out. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out as well.
I mean, we talked all about this Wednesday night, Project. I'm a little offended you didn't check out Phantom Fact Society and get the fresh information on this. But I forgive you because I understand that you are a very busy man. But let me show you this clip of why we think this attack on Wendy Williams is happening so adamantly against her will. And remember we talked about the alter ego?
One more thing. Mind you, it's the bank that started this in the first place. The bank are the ones that decided that they didn't like the way she was spending her money and started this whole guardianship crap to begin with, which I don't see how that even is constitutional, how that can be allowed.
Yes, and that's absolutely insane because we looked up the woman in charge of her guardianship, some lawyer out of New York, and we were like, what the, not a family member, but that's besides the point. We think Wendy was on to something huge. We think she had in-depth knowledge on not only the Diddy stuff, but remember we talked about these alternate egos with Jojo Siwa and Rocket Rick or whatever his name was.
Absolutely.
Well, Katy Perry has an alter ego, and lo and behold, Beyonce has an alter ego named Sasha Fierce. This is a mind control tactic for these people, and this is what Wendy was onto.
No volume again, buddy.
Oh, I did such a beautiful setup, and then I just completely muff it here. I keep forgetting I have to go entire screen. My apologies, everyone. Wendy Williams going after the king and queen, supposedly, of R&B.
Now you kind of look at them like scoundrels. What won't you do for that damn career? Listen, this is a disgusting business. That's all I'm going to say. This business is so disgusting that I can't. I think that Jay-Z and Beyonce are master manipulators of the media. What is that? Is that a baby bump?
Let's not forget Beyonce's being accused of killing Jay-Z's ex, who had her baby, Blue Ivy, and then proceeded to announce that she was pregnant late, and her belly turns into a frisbee when she sits down. No one in the media would talk about this except Wendy Williams.
I don't know. What the couple found most difficult to deal with, says another source, was the fact that
And you're asking yourself, well, what's the big deal here? Right? Like, why is Jay-Z and Beyonce a big deal?
She had too much power. There were way too many. She had way too much influence over a large segment of the community that they rely heavily on, and that's one of the reasons why. And she was also deemed a conspiracy theorist. Which is another bullcrap, because it's truth. It's just truth that hasn't been proven yet. But but those are the reasons why, I think.
Well, and I believe there was heavy involvement with the government. We know there was heavy involvement with the government in the hip hop community. We know they invested heavily in P. Diddy, and the sponsorships came through their hands, partly their hands. And Jay-Z was boinking Beyonce at 14, 15 years old. Oh, no one likes to talk about that. Who didn't mind talking about it? Wendy Williams.
some of the rumors were being perpetuated by people they considered friends, like talk show host Wendy Williams. Well, first of all, I've never partied with them. I've never been to their house. I don't swim in their pool. Like, we're not friends. The stunt left Beyonce angered beyond belief. That means she watches. Fortunately, one of the TVs in our kitchen has closed captioning, so I'll be able to understand what she says. She, Beyonce can't talk. Beyonce sounds like she's got a 5th grade education. She can't talk. Guess who's jealous of Adele? Beyonce. I do, in my mind, believe that Beyonce is very controlling regarding her image. Like, very controlling. Beyonce, what planet do you live on? You can't ban cameras. Everybody's got cell phones with cameras. Respect that. Bow down, B words. A few weeks ago, she was singing at the inauguration. Then she was performing at the Super Bowl. We celebrate. You're on a Pepsi can, for goodness sake.
Well, and if you watch Phantom Facts, Pepsi was heavily used by the U.S. government to propagate other countries and overthrowing them. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was agreeing with you.
So I just think it's, by no coincidence, this is going on with Wendy, and hopefully something happens here. I don't, all we can do is let all 7,300 of you know about poor Wendy Williams, and let's try to figure out what the heck's going on and why is this stuff always happen in New York. Anyway, all right, that's it for me. I guess, do I want to do a teaser for Wednesday's show? Is that okay, boss man? Is that cool?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. Absolutely do. Go ahead and promote your stuff. Absolutely.
A teaser for tomorrow night, or Wednesday night, excuse me, with Phantom Fact Society. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Time. Head of OSHA, Ross Yeager, in a little bit of trouble.
Did Sorgen see your pianist at all?
No.
Okay, so no, and I understand. I fully understand, but obviously in this case, whatever happened has already happened. Right? It's about.
Oh no, it's a police.
Yeah. Did your How's it going, sir? We're just having a conversation here with Ross. He's the head of OSHA over 5 states for the federal government. Basically, you're not going to talk to a 13-year-old again, are you?
No.
Last time doing it?
Yeah, everything's deactivated and done.
Okay. You're not going to send a penis picture to one again, are you?
No.
Okay. And there's going to be no mishaps that happen
Did
like...
my wife call?
There's going to be... You're not going to send a penis pic to one again, are you? This last time doing something like this? Okay. All right. No more mishaps with your niece, right? With Sorgen?
No,
Okay.
they don't live here anymore. But
Okay.
no.
You're not going to rub her butt again? She's not going to brush your penis again?
No. No.
Okay. Well, yeah. This is kind of what's going on.
I know it's a bit of a sour note to tease with, but this is good news because Brian Yeager, head of OSHA for 5 states, Yeager, Wyoming, also happens to be the ranch symbol used in the Yellowstone series. And family is extremely wealthy. So neighbors have made some comments about his actions. This is why the federal government needs to be cleansed. And this is why Phantom Facts and the Talking Heads will keep at it every week. So I can honestly say, fuck OSHA, I guess. All right, everybody. I think the best way to end this show, Project, is with a little Judgment Day song, don't you think?
That looks like a really good show you're going to have coming up. Yeah, that looks like a really good show you got coming up this week. I think I'm definitely going to tune in for that one.
Well, it'll be
Sorry,
nice
I missed your last one.
It'll be nice for you to join.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody else should definitely check that one out. That's going to be a bombshell of a live right there.
It's live on
and
Phantom Society Wednesdays at 8.
Sign everything out. I just want to say again, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. Make sure you like and share our videos. Leave comments. That helps us tremendously. Again, we're fan funded. If you want to contribute to what we do, we have the Cash Apps scrolling the bottom of the screen there. Any money that comes in, we will share together. As far as comes in on, while we're live streaming, and that's pretty much it. He's got a video to play on the way out here, so we'll let him do his thing.
Have a good night, everybody.
Wysokie góry i gornicari, glejne gospoda
golden age of America begins right now. America's decline is over. We will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth. I am with you. I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. The golden age of America begins right now.